All right, I think we'll go ahead and get started today. So we're going to do the Patch Tuesday breakdown for March 2020 today. My name is Jay Goodman. I'm a strategic product marketing manager here at Automox, and with me today is Adam Whitman to do the demos.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for coming. And Jay, thanks for having me on the webinar.
All right. Thanks for joining us. This month brings us 115 new security fixes from Microsoft. 25 of those are rated critical. This is actually the heaviest patch load for Microsoft so far in 2020, even after a very heavy February patch. Additionally, it just wouldn't be Microsoft without some drama. Microsoft, again, has an unpatched vulnerability disclosed, similar to January. This one isn't quite as heavy, but we will talk a bit about what it is, the implications, and how you can quickly remediate it. In a rare turn of events, Adobe released no security updates for their product lines. We will talk a little bit about what may have caused this and what you can do with all your free time. Firefox 74 dropped this month, and additionally, Microsoft Firefox corrected multiple critical and important vulnerabilities found within the web browser version 73, including a security bug that allows malicious actors to target iPhone users and collect their data if their AirPods are connected. We will talk a bit about these vulnerabilities as well as what the shift in Mozilla patching might mean. Finally, we'll check out two demos today. First, a worklet designed to automatically upgrade your Windows 10 operating system. Then we have a bonus worklet this month to tackle the freshly disclosed vulnerability in Microsoft SMB v3. So kicking off with Microsoft, it's a busy month again. Microsoft released an eye-popping 25 critical security updates for March. This month's patches include updates to Microsoft Media Foundation, the GDI Plus API, Internet Explorer, VM Script, and Windows Defenders, among others. There are a few notable vulnerabilities we'll take a look at. First of which is CVE 2020-0824. It's a remote code execution vulnerability occurring in Internet Explorer when it fails to access objects in memory correctly. Attackers can potentially exploit this vulnerability by convincing users to visit malicious websites or view malicious content. If successfully exploited, attackers can then use this vulnerability to run arbitrary code within the context of the current user. If that user happens to have admin privileges, an attacker could potentially seize control of the victim system, allowing them to install programs, view or change data, and create new user accounts. Ultimately, what this means is that an attacker can use this vulnerability to run malicious code on the victim system. The patch corrects this by changing how Internet Explorer accesses objects in memory. The next is CVE 0833. This is another remote code vulnerability, remote code execution vulnerability, sorry. Again, occurring in Internet Explorer, this time in the scripting engine that handles objects in memory. Malicious actors can exploit the vulnerability by designing specially crafted websites for targeting this bug in Internet Explorer. If successful, attackers can then gain control of the victim system, run arbitrary code within the rights of the current user. And again, if the attacker has admin rights, they could install new programs, change or delete data, or create new user accounts without the authorization of the user. This month's security update fixes the issue by correcting how the scripting engine handles those objects in memory. And the final one we're going to kind of call out is CVE 0847. Yet another remote code execution vulnerability, this one occurring in VB Script. The VB Script engine, in the way the VB Script engine handles objects in memory. VB Script is a scripting language used by Microsoft. It allows system admins to run powerful scripts and tools for managing endpoints and will give the user complete control over many aspects of the device. This vulnerability is based on a similar corrupt memory exploit that would allow an adversary to execute code. This attack method is common through phishing and compromised websites. An attacker could use a website crafted to exploit the vulnerability through the browser using common phishing techniques like a resume or billing notification to drive users to the compromised site. Vulnerabilities like this are a very common attack vector given the ease of setup for the attacker and the likelihood of success getting users to click links. If successful, attackers can then use this vulnerability to seize control of the victim system, again with the context of the current user. If the user is an admin, they can view, change, delete programs, do whatever. And Microsoft's patch will resolve this issue by correcting how the VB Script engine handles those objects. This month's security update for Microsoft contains a lot of similar looking vulnerabilities. For example, there are 6 remote code execution vulnerabilities in Chakra Core scripting engine, Those are CVEs 825, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 31. While March is not the most groundbreaking Patch Tuesday we've ever seen, it is a heavyweight when it comes to busy work. With 115 patches in total to address, admins are going to have their work cut out for them. And then in a bit of late breaking news, there's also a newly discovered wormable vulnerability in Microsoft Server Message Block 3.1.1. This is identified as CVE 2020-0796. The flaw impacts Windows 10 and Server 2019. As of now, patches are unavailable. However, Microsoft did provide guidance on remediating by disabling compression to block unauthenticated devices from exploiting the vulnerability. Experts are labeling this as a serious vulnerability, but not one on the level of WannaCry. Considering that SMBv3 is not as widely used as SMBv1, the potential immediate impact of this threat is most likely lower than past vulnerabilities. But that does not mean organizations should disregard any endpoint hardening that can happen now while Microsoft works on a patch. There are still too many unknowns to say how effective this wormable vulnerability could be. It is going to be easy. It is not going to be as easy as Eternal Blue to implement, or will it have the same effect as Bluekeep? We don't know. No matter where it lands, it's better to respond today and disable SMBv3 and potentially even block TCP port 445. Keep in mind that you will want to block 445 or not based on what is best for your organization. During the demo today with Adam, we'll talk a little bit more about the implications and show you how to respond using Automox worklets that are easily tailored to your organization's remediation needs around this vulnerability. So if you need to block port 445, we can help you do that. Mainly, we want to get across that we want you to respond now and end your vulnerabilities today. Remediating and correcting is a good step to take towards hardening the infrastructure. Although it may not be an easy attack vector, closing any attack surface is important. So with all these Microsoft patches, attackers will again have plenty of vulnerabilities to choose from when crafting their next attack campaign. As always, we recommend you patch these critical vulnerabilities within 72 hours. Moving on to Adobe. Adobe gave us a very light month. They actually gave us nothing. Adobe has not released any security updates, a very rare occurrence. In February, Adobe had a ton of releases, so it's not very likely that it's likely that security patches will be released sometime later in March. We'll keep track of that for you and update you as those happen. Given the fact that Adobe had a very heavy month last month for a reader, it may kind of signal that Adobe has cleared a significant amount of their backlog for security updates while they prepare for the next pile. We recommend you use this as an opportunity to catch up on delayed Adobe patches in your organization and set a solid foundation for patching in the future, or take some time to look at improvements to your patch automation to prepare for next month. This may be an opportune time to schedule less critical patches that may have been delayed in the last couple of months, or you may also want to take time to check your organization's configurations and address any configuration drift that you catch. Now moving on to Mozilla. For March, Mozilla released Firefox 74. The newest version of the web browser fixes fixes 5 critical security flaws found in Firefox 73, including a bug that could allow attackers to hack into your smartphone. This is kind of an interesting one. It's known as CVE 2020-6812. The vulnerability targets iPhone users and could give malicious actors access to data linked to connected AirPods devices. None of these have been seen in the exploit in the wild yet, although we do typically see weaponization averaging about 7 days. With Firefox's growth in the enterprise market, leaving any devices unpatched could lead to security exposure. This flaw could expose users' names without their knowledge. Websites with a microphone or camera access can gather information on the user through their connected AirPods. Mozilla noted that AirPods are automatically named after the user after being connected to a device. But when users log into websites with camera or microphone permissions, those sites are able to decipher device names, leaving the user's name exposed. Fortunately, Firefox 74 takes care of this issue. The latest version of Firefox also resolves several other vulnerabilities involving memory corruption or privilege escalation. These include CVEs 6805, 07, 6814, and 15. Interestingly, we are seeing the latest vulnerabilities reaching back less and less into Firefox's history. This could be an indication that the Firefox codebase is hitting a new level of maturity and security success. We will continue to watch Firefox closely, but the less vulnerabilities we see in their older versions, the better for everyone. I'm now going to turn things over to Adam Whitman for a Worklet demo.
Great, thanks, Jay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen out so everyone can see it, and we're going to do a couple of demos today. The first one is going to be the one around the vulnerability that just came out, and we're going to show you actually how to remediate that within your environment using Automox. And then we have more of a fun worklet to look at. It's basically showing you how we're doing feature updates today using worklets for versions 1903 and 1909. There were some changes made in 1809, some patches that were released that changed the way that 1903 and above OS upgrades for Windows are handled, which broke a lot of automation out there for the feature upgrades. But with worklets, we were able to get around that and create two worklets to support 1903 and 1909 feature upgrades both. And we're going to demo that today with a video I kind of put together. Okay, so let's go ahead and share it out. Desktop here. Okay. Actually, I'm going to have to share my whole desktop because we're going to be moving around a lot today. So I'm just going to do my desktop. Okay, so we should be seeing the worklets now, and this is the ones we're going to be doing. The first one is, of course, the SMB version 3 compression remediation using CVE 2020-0796. So what this is going to do is going to disable the compression of SMB version 3 on our Windows servers devices and help us to remediate that CVE. Now, this is a good way to go ahead and protect exploits of this CVE that are currently trying to be exploited on your devices. However, once they are in, they will use SMB protocols to infiltrate any client devices that are connected to that server. So it may be necessary for you to be able to disable all of your SMB traffic or port 445. It would probably be easier to go ahead and disable SMB traffic, which can be done with worklets as well. So that is something that you're also interested in. Make sure to reach out to us and we can help you with that syntax and using a worklet. But this will help you to remediate the CVE instantly and protect any traffic trying to hit the servers and infiltrate using the SMB version 3 compression. And then the other one is, of course, we're going to be demoing today. Also available on our community page is the OS upgrade to Windows 10 1909. We'll walk through the video. I'll kind of explain what's happening. Of course, this does take about 30 to 45 minutes on average to upgrade a device from a previous version of Windows to 1909, such as 1809 or 1903. So it is sped up, but we're going to talk about how it works, and we're actually going to be able to see a VM do its upgrade through this video. Okay, but first, let's go ahead and focus on disabling compression on SMB version 3. And this will be done on a device I'm going to show you that we already have connected in our demo environment. And as you can see, I already have a worklet created. Essentially, I took the code out of here. Right now, we just exit the evaluation code with a 1. However, if you did want to evaluate against that registry value, you could just do an if statement that tests the path to that reg value. And if it exists at the value of 1, then we know that compression has been disabled, and we can go ahead and exit that code with a 0, indicating that the device is compliant and not vulnerable to the CVE. But for instant remediation and the speed we want to move, we're just going to go ahead and exit 1, which will force remediation if this policy runs, or you can force it at any point in time. So we have it connected to our groups of devices here, and the one we're going to look at today is the Automox demo one. Okay, so if we can see here, we're in the Automox demo one, and we're just going to send this to one device. Again, you can connect this to a group of devices or multiple groups of devices and execute this code across all of your devices at once if you choose. But for this demo to show you how it works, we're just going to be doing it to a single device. And if we're going to take a look at the device, I have a VM right here. This is the device we're going to be running it to. And if I look at the actual registry value by getting the item property, we can see right now that disable compression is set to 0, which means it's enabled right now. We need to set it to 1 to make sure that we're disabling that and closing that hole of that CVE exposure currently on this device. So all we need to do is once the code's in there and once we have it here, we can just go ahead and run it on the device. Okay, make sure I run the right one. Okay, looks like we went ahead and ran it. So let's go ahead and see if it made the change. Hopefully it did. Let's pray to the live demo god to make sure it worked. And we can see now that that value has actually now been set to 1. Previously it was set to 0. So now we know that disable compression has been disabled, and we're not now have reduced our attack surface from that CV exploit, because when attackers are looking for a device to infiltrate from its initial access, you will not be a target since you have remediated that and not allowing compression on that SMB version 3. Okay, so let's go on to the next one, which is the more fun one, which is the OS upgrade, feature upgrade. And this one I'm going to be doing a video because we had to do a lot of editing to make sure it's sped up enough for you. But it's going to give you the idea about how this process works. The good thing about this worklet is it's all automatic. So all you need to do is copy this evaluation code. What this is going to look at is your current OS version. And if the OS version is less than 1909, then we're going to go ahead and exit a 1 and we'll force remediation. So we know that device is not on 1909, so we want to go ahead and remediate it. If we do see that it is on 1909, then we're going to go ahead and not remediate and exit with a 0. And all I need to do is copy and paste this code right into your remediation code for your worklet. This is completely automated, so no need to change any values at this point in time. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at it on our video. So I'm going to bring this up here. And what you're looking at right now is just a video, and it's going to be a little hard to see. I put this together just to kind of give you an idea about how this worklet's going to work. But on the right, we're going to see our virtual machine, right? And this is just a normal virtual machine that we're running that's connected to our demo environment on the left. And what we're going to do is we're going to execute that, worklet across this VM. We're actually going to see it work a little bit. So let's go ahead and play it. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at to see what the current version is of the VM, right? So we're going to be, this is the same test we do in the evaluation code. I have it in a variable right now, but you can see it's right now set to 1903. So we know this device is at 1903. We want to make sure to get it to 1909 using our worklet. So what we need to do is we need to isolate that policy that we've created and make sure that we have the correct group assignments. Right, and let's take a look at it first to make sure that we have all of our code in correctly. So essentially all I did was took the code that I wrote and put in the community page and copied it and pasted it into this worklet, right, in the same manner. It's completely automatic, so you don't have to change any variables at all. It'll just basically download the ISO and then mount the ISO to a drive letter. Once that ISO is mounted, it just essentially executes the code using the setup.exe contained in the ISO and actually performs the update. So let's make sure that we have that worklet assigned to our group correctly. As we can see, we have multiple different groups that have this assignment right now, but the one we're really interested in is contained in this one group, which is the worklet test one. Now you could execute it across all your devices at once, right? So you could upgrade 1,000 machines if you choose to, but for this example, we're only going to do one. So now what we're looking at is the machine on the right. This is the one we're actually going to be doing the execution of the worklet to. So once we run it on just this device, it should go through the whole process. And we also have it set up to automatically reboot the device once the upgrade is completed. So now we've ran it. So it is running across this device live. And we're just going to go ahead and speed it up a little bit to make sure that we get it done in an orderly fashion. And it won't take 30 to 45 minutes here on the demo to do it by speeding it up. So it's going to go through its thing. So it did the upgrade. And now what it's doing is actually performing the reboot of the VM. As we can see the Windows symbol there, and we can see that it's now going through its upgrade process. So we know the worklet has now rebooted the device, and the actual OS is doing its upgrade as designed. And as you can see on the left, we're still scanning. We're still looking for that device. We consider that worklet still running, right? So we're going to do that until the worklet's actually completed, and we're going to show a disconnected state because the device is not responding since it is upgrading. Okay, do a couple more reboots. This is all built in natively. And as soon as we see that device again, it's connecting back to us, we'll go ahead and mark it as compliant because now we are actually being able to look at the PowerShell to make sure that that device has been upgraded. Okay, so now we're at the login screen. We're gonna go ahead and log in. This kind of looks familiar when you do feature upgrades. It always goes through this kind of prompt to make sure it finishes the setup of your device. This is all natively built into the Windows upgrade engine. So this should happen natively as soon as you execute that command. Okay, just a quick rescan. We're letting this go ahead and finish, and it'll prompt us once it's done. Okay, a few more things. Okay, all right, so now our VMs back up. So let's look at the PowerShell and do that same evaluation that we did before the upgrade to see what version we're at. And as we can see, that same command is now showing 1909. So we know now that the upgrade's completed successfully. The device is marked as compliant since the policy reevaluated to make sure that the upgrade completed successfully, and you know that your device has currently been upgraded from 1903 to 1909. Okay, so I think that's it. Jay, I'll throw it all back over to you.
So at this point, we're going to open up for Q&A if anyone has any questions about what we presented today, or any questions about Automox in general. We'll give it a couple minutes, and then we'll shut the WebEx or the Zoom down for the day. All right, well, I'm not seeing any questions for the day, so I think at this point we will go ahead and end the webinar. Thank you all very much for attending, and pay attention for the next month's webinar when we go through the Patch Tuesday review again. Have a wonderful day. Thanks.
Thanks.